This is what we're calling episode 0 of the Kadampa Stories podcast. And the idea in this podcast is that I get the chance to talk to various people, initially from the Kadampa Meditation Centre Australia and Kadampa Meditation Centre Melbourne community, to find out a little bit about their Kadampa story. How did they get involved? What meditation's most attractive to them? What was the points where they realized, oh, this really works for me? What advice might they give to someone else who's starting out? So today I'm joined by Natalie, who has been a core member of our community for a long time. She teaches our classes down in Frankston and Mornington Way. She's been involved in our social media and in many other aspects of the way the centre works and how it sort of communicates with the wider general public. And so if you've been coming to classes and if it was social media or something like that got your attention and got you involved, it's quite likely that it was Natalie that was behind that. And so it's lovely to get a chance to talk to you. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well.
That's good.
Okay, fantastic. So don't feel you have to be any more personal than you want to be. Like, I don't want any of this to be sort of intrusive or go into private things that you're not comfortable sharing. But in general, like, how did you come across the center? How did you come across like meditation? Was that at the same time? Was there different things? How did you get involved?
Okay, so at the time, I was just going through probably just like this crisis of what is the point of my life, or the idea. I mean, I was really young. I was only like 19. But the idea of what I thought life would be like after you finished high school, or what relationships would be like, all of these things were just not the reality. And it really hit me hard because I was so fixated on the plan that I had. And when I didn't get the feelings that I thought I would get, or when I wasn't really feeling that happy or enjoying it, I just really struggled. And then I went on a trip to Asia with friends. We met different people who spoke to us about meditation. And then it was actually Daisy who had a conversation with my mum about meditation and how she really wanted to do meditation. And mum said, I know this really good place up in the Dandenongs. I've been going, I'll take you all with me. And we all kind of wanted to come for different reasons. I just wanted to get my mind sorted and I wanted to just be happy. And so I said, all right, let's go. And then, yeah, I think after the first class, I was like, oh, like that relief of, I've got it now, I'm okay. And then, yeah, it all kind of eventuated from there.
Do you remember what the first class was about? Do you remember what the topic was, the meditation?
Yeah, it was all about how happiness depends upon your mind, and how it doesn't matter what you're doing externally. If you're not mentally at peace, it kind of doesn't matter. And I feel like that was the issue that I was having. I was trying to make all of these things work. I wasn't getting the experience that I was after. And so, yeah, it was just like, oh, amazing.
So that's a really beautiful moment, like when we have that first kind of insight into Dharma, into what happiness is and how it works. So then you've had that class, you've had that wonderful insight. What happens next? Do you come the next week and then the next week, or is there more things? Like how does it evolve? How does it progress from there for you?
Okay, so there was a few core things, pretty much because there was a group of us coming every Monday. We'd drive up, and it kind of didn't matter how you felt because there were other people going. So you were just going to go. And then I went away to Europe for about 4 months. So in that time, I didn't have access to anything. I had the living meditation CDs just to try on my own to see how I would go. To be honest, like I didn't really do it that much while I was away. But I always felt like the pinnacle of life was traveling. You're in such nice places, you don't have any responsibilities, like it's just great. And there were just some moments where I was in these really beautiful places. Externally, things couldn't get better, but my mind was a mess. And so I really firmly decided that when I got home, I had to fix my mind, because if I didn't fix my mind, kind of the rest of it was pointless. Like life was just not worth living, really, because I wouldn't enjoy it if my mental space wasn't enjoyable. So we got back, and then I was at class on Mondays. I think by the following year, I joined FP. I did a January retreat, How to Transform Your Life, which literally did transform my life. Because I was like, oh, this is, yeah, just this is amazing. How can I go back to life? It felt like a switch had just been flicked in my mind. And I thought, how can I just go back? Like I've seen too much now. I can't just ignore, I can't ignore this. So then in the April, I did a 1 week working visit before the national festival, the Australian Dharma celebration. And I quit my job because they wouldn't let me take a week off. And I thought, I don't like this anyway. I quit. I did a working visit. I did the Australian festival. I was offered a sponsorship. And so I'd moved in by the May. And
Wow.
I was going to be here for 6 months. In my mind, I was like, okay, 6 months. I think it's like 6 or 7 years. Yeah.
Wow. And so in that time, you've had lots of different kind of roles. What's been your favorite part of being like in part of a Dharma community?
I just love, my favorite thing is it doesn't matter what you're going through mentally, there is always somebody who'll pull you back to Dharma. Like there's always some medicine available for you, even when you're not going out to seek it. And it's just such a valuable, yeah, aspect of being kind of at the center, because normally if you have a problem and you talk to your friends, they can really only give you their opinions, and it's not that reliable, really. And so having something that you can turn to that's reliable, that can actually solve your problem, is so valuable.
And over the time you've sort of been involved in studying and practicing and teaching, is there a meditation that's sort of your go-to, like either your favorite one to teach or your favorite one to practice? Is there something that sort of stands out from all the Buddha's teachings?
I love the meditation on patient acceptance. To be honest, yeah, because you need to accept so much, not only like the unpleasant feelings that we experience almost all the time, but also different circumstances as well. And I remember this one time, it was quite early on, and it was more from the point of view of being in this external situation that I so desperately didn't want to be in, but I couldn't do anything about. And I feel like that's what we find ourselves in all the time. Like, I just want this to be slightly different, but no matter how desperately I wish for it to be different, it just is what it is. And I feel like that relief of just accepting the way that it is magic. I love it. I use it all the time.
That's great. Yeah, that's because, like you say, we're so often thinking it shouldn't be like this, and we're like our mind is fighting against what is, and so there's nothing we can do with it. Like for as long as we're in that stuck place, there's no way we can move forward in any kind of constructive or positive sort of way. So, yeah, that's fabulous.
Very nice. And then you just get like instantly you're free from that pain, just gone straight away. Like I remember, hopefully this is okay to say.
Yeah,
This
go for it.
one,
Go for it.
okay, it might be a little bit of a, I don't know, personal story, but I don't know. Hopefully it's okay. But like my partner always parks in the driveway. And so if I have to leave, sometimes I have to like just squeeze past. And this one time I was like, I've asked, oh, please don't park there, blah, blah, blah. And this one time I was like squeezing past and I got bogged. And I would just like, in my mind, I was just like so desperately refusing that, like, I was just in such resistance towards the situation. I was like, I'm going to get through. And the car was just like getting so close to his car. Anyway, it ended up being fine. Like he moved the car, but in that moment, I was like, I'm in this situation no matter what, right? So I have two options. I can either fix my mind and just be okay in this situation, or I can be angry at him for the rest of the day. I can be angry at the situation. I could be mentally miserable. Like just that, oh, I have a choice right now. I can choose. I can choose to be peaceful. And it was just so nice because like, oh, I don't have to feel this. I can just let it go.
Yeah, I mean that is it, isn't it? That's exactly it. That's the liberation of Dharma. Like that, I can choose. I don't have to feel this way anymore. I can feel this positive way. That's just, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Let me see. What else? What else? Is there part of Dharma that you found difficult? Is there anything like was it easy to accept? Because some, like obviously there's very, very practical elements of Dharma which are basically undeniable. We get experiences quite quickly that just show us the truth of it. But then there's other parts of it which are maybe a little bit more challenging, like the worldview, past, future lives, karma, all those kind of things. Did you find those easy, or was there any aspect of the teachings that you thought, oh, I'm not sure about this? And if so, how did you get over it?
To be honest, the teachings themselves, like even karma, I found a lot of peace within that understanding because I was brought up Catholic and could never reconcile in my mind why bad things would happen to good people. And no matter how, like what questions I asked, I never received an answer that I was satisfied with. And I feel like even something like that, for me, it's not that um you're belittling anybody's experience of suffering, but it just gives you a really good understanding as to why these things happen. And there's a way to change that. So I feel like, yeah, there hasn't really been any teachings that I've struggled with, but I feel like putting it into practice is probably more something that I feel like over the years you kind of realize more and more the subtleties of trying to train. No, I feel like that is probably more challenging than like the the acceptance or the understanding to a degree of the teaching.
Yeah, fantastic. And let's say someone was like interested in meditation or thinking about coming along to a class. Is there anything in particular that you'd share? Like, let's say it was a friend of yours or a family member, like a cousin or something that's like, oh, I know you're involved in meditation. I'm thinking about it. Is there any kind of advice you might give them?
Um, I feel like I would just say, don't worry, like don't worry about anything. Now, all the objections is that I can't meditate. Don't worry. Like most people think they can't meditate, but actually, like anything, if you keep trying, eventually you're going to get a little bit better at it. You're not going to be perfect straight away. So don't worry. And just what do you have to lose? Like life is already so hard that why not implement something that just makes it a little bit easier or just sands off those rough edges? So yeah, just don't worry, just do it.
Cool. Fantastic. Well, this has been delightful, and I would recommend anyone who has a chance, who's in the kind of Frankston, Mornington area, who has any kind of time, get along to one of your classes. You're a fantastic teacher. I think the way you practice Dharma and the way you share Dharma is just wonderful. So thank you very much. It's been lovely to have this little chat. And yeah.
Thanks so much.